So this is what the van looks like after a camping trip. Mattress all messed up and blankets crumpled. Plenty of dirt. Things just kind of laying out. I think we can fix this. That looks a little bit better. All right. Welcome back to Seize the Adventure. In today's episode, we are doing the 5 things that I absolutely hate about my 2000 GMC Safari all-wheel drive camper van that we are currently sitting in right now. I got the idea for this video because I did the 5 things that I love about my camper van, and you guys seem to really enjoy that one. So I thought it was just appropriate that if I'm gonna do the 5 things that I love about my van, that I'll do the 5 things that I hate about my van because, well, let's be realistic. There's some things that I don't like about it. So let's get this video started. This is my 2000 GMC Safari all-wheel drive camper van that I self-converted in a duplex parking lot in the rainy months of the Pacific Northwest. It came out better than I ever would have imagined. I never thought I would do something like this. And this is the final product. I was able to knock this out in a couple months, and then ever since I've just been exploring all around Oregon, from coastal towns to way up into the mountains, lakes, rivers, everything in between. This has taken us there. So with that all being said, I don't actually hate this van. This thing is awesome. So just like anything else, you can find a couple of things that could be improved, let's say. I'm putting this list together to hopefully help you out if you're thinking about doing an Astro van or a Safari van build. You can maybe reference this guide and try to avoid these things if you agree, or maybe you disagree and this makes you want this van that much more. So let's go ahead and start out with number 1, and that has to be the overall size in here. This is a very small van. It is a minivan. Although it's a cargo van, it's a minivan. And at the time of purchase, I really thought that this is exactly the amount of space that I wanted. Would I like some extra headroom in here? I definitely would. And for example, I could try to stand up in here just so you can see. My knees aren't even completely locked out, and I can't move around super well in here. Now, with that being said, this fits into parking spaces perfectly fine. I can fit this into my garage that has a 7-foot door with no problems, and that's kind of why I wanted this size of a van. Solo camping really isn't that bad with how big it is in here. It's fine, I could deal with it. I'm outside most of the time on these adventures, but the one thing is when I bring my girlfriend along with me, as well as our dog Alcy, things get pretty crowded very quickly. So for my situation, the size of my family, this is a pretty small camper. So for better perspective on the size of one of these vans, if I step in and sit down, this is what you got to work with, which really isn't that bad. I can't complain, especially solo camping like I had mentioned. It just gets really tricky when I try to bring more than one person. So the one thing that I hate about the Astro Safari vans is just the size, in the sense that I can't stand up. Now, if I had this same vehicle but with a high roof, I think the game would be changed, or one of those pop-up roofs or something like that, you know, that you see with the Westfalias and those size vans. If this cargo van had a pop-up roof or some type of high roof on it, I think it'd be the perfect size, because you get all the advantages of being able to maneuver on trails and that sort of thing, and park in parking spots really easily, all that sort of thing. I wouldn't be able to fit it in my garage probably, but I think it'd be worth it. So that is the number 1 thing that I hate about the Astro Safari vans, is just the amount of headroom. If we had a pop-up roof, I think that would be perfect. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. So let's jump into the second thing that I hate about my van personally, and this is something that I added to this list because I see a lot of you guys asking me, you're having the same exact problem, and that problem is with this corner that you see behind me. It's really challenging to get the planks or whatever type of board that you're using to match up flush with the wall. This angle is just kind of too sharp. So what I did here was used a thin plastic flexible cabinet liner that I cut into strips. It came in a huge 4x8 sheet, and I cut it into this strip that goes along from the rear to the front of the van, and it covers up this area pretty well. A lot of you have asked me how to do this, and I've responded, and it's a really easy and quick way to deal with this problem. I would never cut a corner and skip something like this again, because this is the first thing that you see when you walk into the van is this floppy piece of plastic. I really wish that I changed something about that and tried a little bit harder to make this corner look a little bit better. So that is the number 2 thing that I hate about this van, is how I dealt with this corner, and I added it to this list because it seems like a lot of you guys have this problem as well. So something to think about, something to plan for, and I'm sure somebody has a good solution to that out there. So as you can see, we have this nice, huge white strip of plastic just kind of hanging out in the corner of the van. And at the end of the day, it's not that bad. To me, I really wish I just took the time to figure out a better solution, but at the end of the day, I was doing it in a parking lot, and I needed to get this thing done so I could camp last summer. So I'm glad I did it, just to clean it up a tiny bit, but that needs to be taken care of. I made an appearance.
I'll see, up. Good boy, up. Come.
He's making himself at home.
Got snacks in there?
I was just talking about how we don't fit with 2 people and a dog.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
I'd say we fit, but it's a little cramped for my liking.
Okay, a little crammed.
A little claustrophobic at times.
So let's talk about the 3rd thing that I hate about the van. Now, this 3rd thing on the list is actually about the design of this vehicle, so this is more so kind of advice to the other Astro Safari van owners, and that is this head destroyer right here. This thing will knock you out. And what happens is you're crouching down, you're ready to go out and see the world in the morning, and the first thing you do in the morning is just totally take your scalp off with this bar, and that isn't great. I don't love doing that first thing in the morning. I think they could have made this a little bit more low profile. I'm not sure how it works in other vans, but this is just bad. So the 4th thing that is on this list is the front wheel well placing. See, the front wheel well here is very intrusive to whoever's sitting in the front 2 seats. Now, I have a size 11 foot, and my foot barely fits on this left side, and then on the right side you kind of have this big round wheel well, and there's just really not that much space. I bring this up because this is supposed to be an adventure van, and a part of adventure is long hours on the road sitting in this seat for many hours. Now, the actual seat itself is super comfortable. I have no complaints about that, but the positioning of this front wheel well drives me nuts. And when you're on the driver's side, you have the pedals too that are in the way as well, and there's just a lot going on. So as you can see here on the driver's side, you still have this same hump with the pedals also in the way, and there's just not much space in this area. Now, I don't want this video to just sound like I'm complaining about this van. I love the van. It's awesome. This has been my favorite project that I have ever completed, but there are these design factors that you want to take into consideration if you're thinking about building out your own Astro Safari camper van. So let's talk about the 5th and final thing that I hate about this van, and then we'll kind of go back over the entire list and just talk about what plans we might have for the future. So the 5th and final thing that I don't really like about this setup is just the way that I designed all the cabinetry and storage. So as you can see, we have this large piece of plywood. I use this as the door to my main cabinet here, and this is what you have underneath. It has served me right, but it's kind of just like organized chaos most of the time, because there's not really a great place to put things. And then you have this huge door, and the way that you kind of like just lay on your legs while you reach in to grab stuff, then you can close it. If there was just normal drawers that I could, you know, slide out, or even just like cubby holes, like I'd even like just holes right in this face and like be able to grab things really easily, that would be nice. And this counter space is nice, but I would like to just have a more functional kitchen. If you go back and watch one of my original van camping videos, I go out on a solo van camping trip to the coast, and I boondock right next to the ocean, and I plan to cook inside my van. I brought my stove in here, I set it up. I had to tape the lid open because there wasn't enough space right here, so my lid was barely open and the food cooked and it was all fine. This looks really nice, but I would just like it to be more efficient for cooking. I like this overhead storage, but I don't know, I think it would be useful to just have more storage and just make this all more efficient. And then here we have the under bed storage with this little door right here, and this is good. There's a lot of space, but it's pretty hard to get to, and it is virtually impossible to get to any of the storage when the bed is pulled out and I have a cooler in here or something along those lines. So didn't really think that out super well. I would like there to be some way to open it maybe from the top here, but then again, I was trying to keep things simple. So that is it for the 5 things that I hate about this van. It was actually kind of hard to figure out what I hate about it, because at the end of the day, I love the Chevy Astro GMC Safari platform. This van is an all-wheel drive capable trail machine, but those are some nitpicky things that I wish didn't exist, or something that I would change for the future. With that being said, I do think that I would like to do a rebuild on this. I think my skills have increased greatly since I did all this in a duplex parking lot. So it's either sell the adventure van to some other person that would like to use this platform and buy a bigger van, or completely redo this thing and make it the best GMC Safari Chevy Astro build that is on YouTube. Drop your suggestion down in the comments below. I want to thank you for watching this video if you've made it to the end. We didn't do too much adventuring, it was just more of talking and catching up with you guys, letting you know how I feel and what my plans are for the future of this channel. I really like the camper van build content, so I'd either like to just do a whole nother project or just continue building this now that the summer is coming to an end. So comment your suggestion down below. Should I sell the van, buy something and build it out, or should I deck this thing out, rip everything out and just really improve it for the future? I want to thank you so much for watching. Like this video, share it to your friends, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what we have going on in the future. And as always, we will see you in the next adventure.